start us off.
Hey.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. Should we keep that as the intro? Are you doing that? We'll keep
That's
it.
awkward, but okay.
So, as you guys can see, very different setup for this episode. I don't know if we had mentioned it already. Thomas is doing cheer camps for like an entire month.
6 weeks.
Yeah. And is it really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, hey, I'm his friend and roommate. Didn't know that. But yes, Thomas is going to be gone for a very long period of time. So he will not be on these episodes. He might be on a call. We've thought about that, but that's like really awkward and weird.
I kind of like the idea, though. But
Of him being on a call?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, if we do that, it would just be me and like somebody else here, and then Thomas would be on the phone. We thought about it, but I think that'd be kind of weird. So, but if you think it's not, then maybe we'll consider it. Especially because Allie's here. You guys now can see what she looks like. She's been on before. The last appearance that you made was our first Music and Movie Monday, and you were hiding behind the camera. So
I did. I was the cameraman.
and you were moderating it for us. But yeah, so you're screwed because Tom's is probably going to do one with you. So Allie will be on for the third time.
I don't think so, but
And you are in the elite club of 2 appearances because Craig is the only other person that's had 2 appearances. So
funny because I never wanted to be on this podcast, and here I am.
On
it twice.
Cool little story. So, because this makes us sound extremely prepared. It makes me sound extremely prepared. Going into yesterday, I had nobody to be on Wednesday's episode, and Allie kidnapped me at 1 in the morning to go get food. And I said, "Do you want to be on?" And she said no. And I said, "Please, I have nobody." And she said, "Okay."
I asked him. I said, "Are you guys still doing the same schedule?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, who's gonna be on for the episode tomorrow?" Apparently, me.
Hooray. So, yeah, here we are. Thomas won't be here, unfortunately. So if we just lost like half our viewing base, that's probably why. But hopefully, y'all still stick around because I think we'll have a pretty good conversation. Is it hot in here to you still?
No, it's kind of cold.
Okay, because the air is on and it's still kind of hot to me, so.
I'm literally freezing.
Whatever. To get things started, random question, but it has a story for what happened to me today, and it's going to make you laugh, so I want to ask you first.
What?
How good are you with, like, needles and, like, getting your blood drawn by the doctor?
1 to 10, probably about a 3.
3 as in, like, 1 is good, and then 10 is, like, get me out of this place? 10 is good?
1 is bad.
Oh, so you're horrible.
I'm, like, teetering on the edge of terrible. I used to get, like, tied down and have to get, like, shots, so.
Do you need, like, somebody there with you to, like, hold your hand while you do it?
No, I just, like, look away, close my eyes, and, like, literally sing my favorite song. And at the moment, you know what my favorite song is, but.
Okay, well, when's the last time you had it drawn then? Or, like, had a needle poked in?
Blood drawn? Probably a couple of years, honestly.
Really?
I've been a healthy kid.
Well, in the way that they don't require to take blood because there's, you know, we can get into that later.
Anyways.
Anyway, to transition to my story, if you can see on my
you got
arm.
Your blood drawn?
So my doctor needed me to get my blood drawn, and I'm off today and tomorrow, as you know, and now you guys know. So I need to go in and get my blood drawn to test like a couple things, because when I got my blood drawn before that, it was just for thyroid stuff, and she needed other like cholesterol, iron, other like weird stuff. So today, lucky me, was the day that I had to go and get that done because it was my off day. So I go to the place, I go in, I try to check in, and I put my license on like the reader. It doesn't read. So I have to type in the stuff manually. And we switched insurance recently, so I had to type in that stuff manually, and I'm pretty sure I messed that up. So I sat down, and the guy calls my name, and I go up there, and I was like, "Hey, I think I put the insurance in wrong. Can you, like, type it for me?" And I, like, handed him my phone that had the insurance card on it. So that was already, I knew I was screwed because I couldn't even check myself in properly. So that was a good sign. So I sit back down, And well, before I sit back down, the nurse, is it a nurse that like takes the blood, or
I thought it was a phlebotomist, but maybe that's a different part of blood.
yeah, or I don't know what they're called. Kayla's episode was last week, and she knows probably a lot more about this terminology than I do. But anyway, she started talking to the guy at the front desk, saying like there was some sort of complication with the woman that she had taken back there for her blood to get drawn. So I was like, cool, but I didn't really think anything of it because that woman walked out like while I was still talking to the guy. So I was like, all right, well, they put out the fire or whatever the problem was. So she leaves. I sit down. Like 2 minutes go by. And the dude has me go back to the room. Or the woman opens the door and she calls me back there. She's like, hey, how you doing today? She was a younger girl, like probably fresh out of college or something. She was like pretty young, like 24, 25 maybe, if I had to guess. Super sweet. She calls me back, and for like this blood work you have to fast. So like I didn't eat or drink anything other than the water that I had to like take my medicine this morning. So I go back there, and it's always weird to me, like, because you have to fast, but also you need water for them to like find a vein. So it like, to me, that makes no sense whatsoever. So I sit down. She's like, what arm do you prefer? And I always do my left arm because, like, I don't know how they do the dominance and all that. So I was like, all right, let's do my left arm. So I put my left arm out. She's, like, poking around on, I don't even know what the space would be called. Opposite your elbow or whatever. Is this called something?
I'm a business major.
Okay. Kayla, please tell us what that is.
Sorry for the disappointment.
So yeah, she starts poking around like normally where they find the vein or whatever, and she's poking there for like 3 minutes or something, which never happens to me. And keep in mind, I forgot to mention, I'm like really good with like needles and blood and stuff like that. I used to be horrible with it. I hate most things that come to like medical stuff, but that, like, I don't look at it like some weirdos out there that are like, ooh, and they like watch the blood leave their body. But I'm not bad with it. Like when they do it, they're like, little pinch. I'm like, this is nothing. So she's poking around, and I'm kind of like, you good? What's going on here? And she's like, yeah, I can't seem to find a vein. And I'm like, cool. So she finally finds one, and she puts the needle in, and she like sits there for a minute, and like normally they grab the little vial or whatever and then put it in the where the needle thing is. She doesn't do that. So she's just like looking at the needle, and I'm like, I like look up at her. I'm like, is everything all right? And she's like, well, like I put it in the vein, but like nothing's coming out. So I was like, okay, what'd that mean? So,
Are you dead?
So like we sit there for like a minute or two, and just like nothing happens. It's just like, which is always a great sign of confidence from whatever you said that they are. Just like, and I'm just like, what does that mean? So she takes the needle out, and I'm like, oh, like nothing came out. And she's like, no. And I was like, okay, well, like, do you want to try the other arm? She's like, yeah, we're probably gonna have to because like they need to collect my blood, and nothing happened. So she's like, all right. So she preps this arm, still like poking around my arm and like having trouble. And again, it was the whole hydration thing. It was a really long story. I'm trying to make it shorter. But she sticks the needle in. Nothing happens again. So she's like jiggling it around. I'm just like, as I'm sitting there, she's trying to get like the blood. And it finally, she goes like, excuse me, to the guy that I was talking to at the desk, because I think he was more like certified or whatever, which I don't know why they had that brother behind the desk. Yeah, I don't know. He was putting in the schedules and everything. She's like, excuse me, and he's like, yeah, and he comes around the corner, and she's like, yeah, nothing, because this time like this much came out, like blood came out, but it wasn't enough, obviously. So she calls the guy around, and she's like, yeah, I'm trying, but like nothing's happening. I don't know what's going on. So he like gives her tips on how to like jiggle it for like the blood to come out, I guess. So she like pulls the needle out a little bit. It's still in my vein, but she like pulls the needle out. Still nothing's happening. And now I'm like freaking out because like when she told me she was going to do the other arm, all right, maybe in the right arm she'll have more success, whatever. But nothing happened. So I was like, okay. So he's like, all right, let's try the left arm again. And I'm like, excuse me? I said, we're going to do what now? So she pulls the needle out, and the guy's like, all right, like, are we good to do the other arm? And I was like, are we? Like, is that going to, like, am I going to pass out or something if you're going to, like, poke the needle in me again? And he's like, no, like, we'll be fine. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, okay, you know what you're talking about. I'll trust you. So the dude puts the needle in immediately. It works. Like, the blood comes out and he'd get like 2 vials or something of it. So I don't know what she was doing. I felt bad for her because like you could tell in the tone of her voice that she felt like really bad. She kept saying like, "Are you okay?" Because the guy was talking her through. He's like, "All right, so at this point you ask the patient if he's okay," and I'm like, "Is this a lab? Are we doing an experiment or something?" So he's like, "You ask the patient if he's okay," and I was like, "You know,
the patient is crazy
I'm like,
when it's you."
Yeah,
like,
and I'm
you ask
sitting
the
right in
patient,
front of him. I'm sitting right in front of the dude. He's like, "Ask the patient if he's okay," and she's like, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, "I guess." So he collects the blood. He like pulls the needle out and everything, and my vision just goes like blurry, like almost immediately. I start sweating bullets, and I'm like, "What?" Because they just poked me 3 times. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, "All right, well, I might pass out here in a second." And he's
Did
like,
you tell them?
I was like, "Yeah, but like I can't see. Like something's going on." And he's like, "No, you're fine. Like don't worry about it." So like she brought me some water. And he's trying to like talk me down, the classic like 911. They'll be like, they'll try and talk you out of like what's happening, especially right now because it was kind of like their fault. So he's like trying to talk to me or whatever, and like I can't see. And he tries to get me like read the vial that had like my name on it, and I'm like, I was like, it says Cole, but like I can't see anything. So we're just sitting there, and like I just start talking to this guy about college. And like my life, because he's like talking me down from what's happening. And meanwhile, I have both of the like athletic tape wrapped around like both of my arms because I'm just like what is it, like the well you get the water. So he had to like sew me back up basically. I'm just sitting there. I'm like, yeah, I'm a sociology major and everything. And he's talking me down from it. But yeah, I almost passed out, and I thought that was pretty cool. Worst experience I've had. Like I said, I'm normally like really good with that stuff, but
Not today, you aren't.
But yeah, worst experience I've had. And then I had to go to the store right after that. So I'm on the phone with my mom in the car, and I'm just
Hilarious.
like, yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I felt like you would appreciate that. So I just wanted to share that with you.
I love how your go-to when you're like literally dying is like, yeah, I'm a sociology major. It could have been about literally anything.
Well, the
else.
guy asked me. So that was like his question. He was like, he just started asking me about like, oh, you have any plans today or something? I was like, no, I'm off. And then he asked me about like where I work. And I was like, oh, yeah, but like I'm still in college and everything. So we started talking about it like that. And then this part was weird to me because he said when I like, I guess, regained consciousness or something, he was like, all right, man, we'll like come back sometime and like we can continue the conversation.
No.
And I was like, what do you mean come
Absolutely
back sometime?
not.
Like, I just be like, you know what, Mom, I'm going to go get my blood drawn. Because Gary over at this place, I never finished that conversation with him.
But also, do you want to go back there again?
No. At least not if that girl's working. And I felt so bad. Like, you know me. I was trying. I almost wanted to like tap her on the arm before I left and be like, no, you did fine. It's like totally
but
cool.
Also, no, you didn't.
But again, this is, I feel like your thing with like fast food. If that doesn't come to you correctly, you've been like, what the? You almost made me pass out. So.
Low key, after the first try, I'd have been like, you want to try again? Are you sure you don't want someone else to try again?
I'm really glad she called that guy because if she poked me again, I might have died. So,
also the fact that your vision blurred, like.
No, it was like.
That would have been it for me.
I don't know if it was just like stress because I at that point I was just like kind of hyperventilating because I like they're putting the needle in me 3 times and I'm like, okay, I don't. In my mind, I'm like, all right, this is the end. And then he finishes, and I'm like, oh, cool. And I'm like, I start getting a little drowsy, and my vision gets like really starry and everything. And the guy was like, you all right? And I'm like, not really. I can't really see right now. So shout out to that guy. Shout out to the girl, though, too.
Shout out to Gary for really coming through.
We all got to start somewhere. So his name wasn't Gary, so I just randomly thought of a name.
It's fine. He'll be Gary.
But yeah, so that was my story. It only took like all of the episodes so far. So
solid halfway through, and I've barely even spoken. And
the funny part is, Thomas and I talked about it. Allie's last episode, we wanted to be more about her, and it apparently wasn't. And then now I started off the episode with like a 11-minute story. So
you guys are really good at. I feel like you're just like comfortable with like telling me your lives, and then. It may or may
but
not
I knew you would love that
episode.
Because of like
You were in pain. And
yeah,
kind of
and
funny.
I was just like a raisin sitting in the chair, and the guy was like, "You good?" And I'm so just feeling my pulse and everything. But yeah, anyway, so I thought you would appreciate that, so I wanted to share.
I think
that
that's a
story
great
story.
story.
So actually, now into what I have planned for you. So Allie just had her niece. And she was watching her niece for, was it 4 days? Yeah, while her sister was in Texas.
Yeah.
The original plan was to get Austin, her niece, on the podcast yesterday. But baby's gonna baby, and she didn't feel very well. So
Yeah, she was a bit fussy. You wouldn't have enjoyed it.
So, well, and even if she wasn't fussy, I feel like if we had her sitting still for like 30 minutes, she still would have like cried at some point, or you would have had to feed her. So if we just cut to you, you're like, yeah, like and you're just holding a baby. Yeah. So you had your niece the past few days. The episode was going to be called Austin and Allie, which I thought was going to be adorable, but because Austin's not here, and
we can put some pictures.
I was going to say, here's what she looks like. We can flash some photos of her on the screen while
she's very cute.
I talk. She's adorable. I took a picture with her. I showed Zuri, and Zuri said I looked terrified when I was holding her. I thought I looked fine, but she was like, yeah, you guys both look terrified. And I was like, she might. I thought I was okay. But yeah, so her being here kind of made me think a little bit about what we would be talking about today, because we've had this conversation off of podcast, but now we can have this conversation on podcast.
I'm a little scared.
Why is I feel like whenever, like, especially when Thomas is here, people are like, well, I'm nervous, and I'm like, I hope you're not, because we're not going to ask
not actually, but also sometimes the things that I say, like, do I want
well, that's
them
on you.
recorded?
I can't help you at that point. Because when you were taking care of her, I feel like you're going to make like a really good mother one day, and I think I told you that, and if I didn't tell you that, then that sucks.
You didn't, but
because
thank you.
Now I'm telling you this. So what makes that so easy for you? Because if my sister told me to do that, I would have been like no, and just given her like the child back, because I do not trust myself.
Well, okay, so she's not the first kid, which is like a lot easier. With her first kid, like, I'm the baby of the family, so like I'd never been around a child. So this is the second child, but I don't know, I just like care about her and like my sister, and
that makes it sound like I don't. But yeah.
Well, I mean, like, no, like, I genuinely, like, I love that kid. Like, I don't know. Also, like, I feel like my sister's done a lot for me, so like if I can repay her back in any way, like, I will do it.
See, I'm with you on that, but this was a very like tall order, I feel like, because if your sister's like, hey, can you go put some gas in my car, I'd be like, sure, hand me the keys. She's like, can you watch my 2-month-old daughter? I might be like, I don't know about that. So.
But like, my sister like raised me, do you know what I mean? Like, she was my parent for like, I don't even know how long. So like, if I have to step into the role of parent for a couple days, like, that's easy compared to what she did.
See, but like, where did you get the skills though? Like, because I know that this is our second child, but like, where did you get like the soft-spoken voice, the patience to be able to like take care of this child and everything?
I feel like it just like comes with you. Like, it's nothing that you just like wake up one. Like, I mean, low-key, you kind of just like wake up and you have it. Like, it's not like I learned. I mean, I kind of learned from watching. Like, I learned from watching her, like, how to change a diaper and, like, how much to feed the kid. But other than that, like, it's just kind of like a natural instinct. Like, it's not something you have to, like, force yourself to learn. You kind of either got it or you don't.
Well, did you ask her, like, the preliminary questions about, like, when do I have to feed her or, like, that kind of stuff? Or you were just,
I mean, like, whenever I'm home, like, I'm an active aunt. Like, I, like... when I'm with her, I step into the role of, like, a caretaker kind of for the baby. So, like, I didn't really have to ask. Like, it's not a lot of things that I would need help with. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it just kind of works. And also, she's not a really hard baby in general. Like, she's not colic. Like, she's not, like, overly crying. She just kind of loves being cuddled, loves attention, and needs food, and... that's really it.
See, but that's my thing, though, because I have no patience in a lot of things, especially with children. Like, because my whole joke was that she was just boring, and because Allie would just, like, send me pictures of her, and I'm like, okay, child, like, that's cool, I guess. But also, like, we joked about it, like, because you couldn't go anywhere, really, or, like, do stuff with friends because you had to watch her.
But it's a lot... I will say, like, as she gets older, it'll be a lot easier to go places. It's just hard to go places with the 2-month-old because, I mean, any moment she could turn up. So, like, yeah, it's give and take. Also, I didn't have the stroller, so then I would have to like put her or like carry her completely, and that's just not as comfortable.
Well, I thought about it too because when I came over and brought you your Target order, I was like, oh, well, what if, like, if we get hungry, maybe we can go out to eat or something like that. But I was like, no, we can't, because Austin would probably be like, what this? And just start screaming. So.
Well, she does really like the car, but I mean, like, yeah. I also just feel like she's a baby. Like, there's only going to be this stage of like where you stay in with her for so long before like you need to go and like help her explore and show her new things. So like the stage of like being in the house with her, like it's only going to last but so long.
Yeah. Well, because if it was, because my youngest niece is 4 now. If it was like a 4-year-old, then like maybe you got me on that one. Because like we had this conversation. This sounds terrible openly. But if it's somebody that I can like communicate with, maybe you got me on that one. Because I love communicating with people. But if you just like scream and I'm like, I don't know what you want from me, I don't really know what to do about that.
I also just think that like, you know, like if I know she hasn't eaten in over a couple hours, I'm like, she's probably hungry. Or she just ate, but randomly she's fussy, she's probably needs to burp. Like, it's just like things that you just like gain over time. Like, it's just something that you like realize. Also, I like understand that like she has no other method of communication. She purely only knows screaming, sleeping, and smiling. So like, that's it. That's what you got.
Well, also too, because you got horrible sleep for a decent amount of the time that she was there.
Yeah.
Understandably,
Yeah.
of course. But my sleep schedule is screwed up already as is. But I can't imagine getting like 3 hours of sleep and then just having to stay up the rest of the day. Because you can't, like, you're by yourself. You can't.
Okay, but like you got, so she'll give me like 3-hour intervals, except for that last night. She gave me 2-hour intervals, but that one was brutal.
Oh my gosh.
I told you she was congested, and I meant it. She was waking up every 2 hours, so was I. But that first night, like the 3 hours and then going back to sleep, like I could not do it. But I figured out how to do it because I knew that was the only way I was going to be asleep. But also, you have to think, like, I run on E all the time. Like, I run myself exhausted. So, like, I feel like it was just another challenge to get through.
Well, inadvertently, that kind of touches on something that I'll ask you in a second. But we're not going to go ahead and get there yet. Because this, I don't know if we've talked about. And if we have, I don't remember your answer to it. So, thank goodness you can remind the viewing public about it. What is your view on kids? Like, how many do you want, if you want them? I'm assuming you want children.
I do. I want one biological child, and then I'd like to foster and possibly adopt another child.
That's right. Do you care if, for the biological child, do you care, like, boy or girl?
Oh, no. That's not a big thing. I would rather have a healthy child and be like, yeah, I need a girl. But my family doesn't have any boys in it, so I feel like the expectation, everyone thinks I might have a boy because we don't have any.
I didn't think about that because, yeah, it is just you and your sister, and then she had 2 girls. So.
And then my like uncle also has 1 girl, so there are no girls. My other uncles don't have kids.
See, that's the thing with my family because I'm the only boy, and my sisters only had 2 girls. So if I'm the next one to have kids, I guess, even though I'm like the 3rd oldest, then that'd be funny. Like if I have a boy, because I look at it, I don't really care which one I have. I mean, because I see like the pros for both of them. I don't want to look and say like there's cons.
I see
for
the
it.
pros for both of them. It's crazy.
Because like because if I have a girl, then that father-daughter connection that like dads have, I think is really sweet. But then like if I have a boy, then I can teach him stuff that like my dad taught me, and then especially like if he has sisters and stuff like that.
See, I don't know if there's anything that like my dad like missed out on. Like I feel like he taught me everything that you think boys learn. Like
for
he
sure.
Kind of just like, I don't know. So I feel like I wouldn't like mind either or because I don't know. Now,
for the biological child, you don't care, but are you going to, depending on what the biological child is, are you going to adopt opposite?
No.
So you're completely
really not like it's like up to the Lord, the universe, and all that stuff. Like.
So you're just completely inclusive.
Yeah. I mean, like, I just don't see a pro con thing about like children. Like you either have them or you don't. And
But you never thought about that though? Like if you have a daughter, you want to like dress her up, do her hair, stuff like that. And if you have a son.
not really. I'm also like less of a like stricter, like I don't want my little girl to be a princess unless she wants to be a princess. Like she wants to be a kick-ass, I don't know, race car driver, go be it. Like so
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I'm not really like set in like I really want, like that's just not me.
Mm.
But I understand that that's some people, and I don't like think there's anything wrong with it, but like just me personally, I would rather value other things. I do want to wait to have kids though until I'm like good, old, and have money.
Well, so that kind of inadvertently leads me into another conversation because I've had this with a bunch of my coworkers. I don't know if I've had it with you. So what is the right age for, well, first for marriage? What do you think is the right age to
For
like get
me?
married? Yes.
For me personally,
Yes.
I don't want to get married until I've got a doctorate degree.
So how old is that
we're
looking like?
at 27, 28.
Okay.
And then I personally don't want to have kids. I don't want to have a biological child before I'm married, but if I happen to end up fostering a child before then, that's completely fine. But me personally, like those ages are pushed back because I want to have a career first. And I feel like that's not selfish. That's just realistic.
Yeah.
But I know that for other people it's different. Like we talked about my sister. Like she's completely different. Like she wanted the family and then the career, which I think is great. I just think that speaks to who she is. Like she wanted to be a mother first, and I want to be a mother second.
Yeah. So you said like 27, 28 for marriage. So then when does that push for kids? Like how
I wanna
soon after
be-
that?
Yeah, I want to be done having kids by the time I'm 33.
So when do you start though? Like 30?
Maybe. I'm not like too time heavy on it. I just know like there's obviously a biological clock, and like I don't want to have like a high risk pregnancy or something like that. But I also don't think that like children would limit me in any way. Like I would still travel the same amount if I wanted to. I would just bring them along for the adventure. Like I'm not, and also by the time I get married, I think I'll probably have dated that person for a good bit. But
Yeah.
those are just plans.
Two things. One, hold the mic just a little bit closer to your mouth.
Okay.
Two, I feel like I follow pretty close to that. I look at this very differently than a lot of other people. And others that I've talked to about it, they kind of fall more with like how our generation is now, where it's like a lot of people are getting married very young. And that was kind of a segue into the next thing I was going to talk to you about. But a lot of people are getting married.
His co-host is actually FaceTiming me right now. Me and Cole are recording the podcast.
In a
Yeah.
way, your timing could not be worse.
Yeah.
Yes. Can she call you back in like 15 minutes?
Sure.
Okay.
Hi to your podcast.
Thomas, everybody.
I know.
Hey.
I'm calling because I have some good news.
Well, I'll call you back after this.
Well, I mean, it's for both of you guys, if you guys are here, but just call me after then.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
It's kind of funny, actually. The comedic timing of that is ridiculous.
He usually calls me right about this time, so that lines up.
Anyway, so I feel like our generation specifically is a lot of people are getting married around like 22, 23, 24, like that area. You know me. I'm a lot more like old fashioned when it comes to like dating people or like when
I also think that like old fashioned is dating and getting married younger, because like if you think about it, like our grandparents were married around like 18, 19, 20.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's like a new thing. It's just like
That is true though.
Bringing
And now that I
something
said
back.
that, I feel like that doesn't make any sense because like people like, okay, Meg's parents, for instance, they got married like mad young, or at least like they had kids, I think, pretty young. So yeah, old fashioned might not be the right word, but I look at it more as in like I kind of want to like live my life before, which is like what you were talking about, where Alexis was different, where she like has kids first and then she'll live her life after that. I look at it more as in like I'm still pretty young. I kind of like go out and do things first and not be tied down to like a child or marriage, I guess, but that's not really something that you can account for. The child more so, yes, but marriage, like, if you meet the right person, then you guys get married.
Yeah.
Because that leads me into my next question, because you just went to a wedding, and which is good actually, because you told us like very little about that, which is probably on purpose, and also like we're dudes, so you're probably not gonna be like, oh my gosh, guys, listen.
I was gonna say I didn't think you guys wanted to hear like, here are wedding highlights.
Well, it's funny because Allie is actually coming to my sister's wedding in September, so we talked a little bit about marriage. So like, how was that? How was the experience?
Honestly, I think it's really good. They're like my first friend, like my first like age group people to get married. Like they're 1/2 years older than me, but it was good. I like am happy to see that like love is cute, but then also just like being in the air where everyone's like fully supportive of like people is just nice to see. And they're also really religious, and I haven't been to a wedding quite that religious ever before, which was nice to see, and like it was something new.
Because how old is Paige?
22.
Yeah. And how long have they been dating?
6 years.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, they started dating in high school.
I didn't know it was that long.
Yeah.
Well, that's sweet. It's like a high school sweetheart story.
Yeah.
Well, that's really cool because I love the atmosphere of weddings and everything. I feel like dudes don't really say that very often, but like I used to cater. So like I would go to a bunch of weddings. I always thought they were really cool. Sorry that they had me bring them food, but I thought it was pretty fun just to see like everybody's different view of what their like dream wedding is. Because okay, for you, are you going like all out? I feel like I know the answer to that question.
I feel like my parents are gonna have to reel me back down, but like yeah, I would be like that'll probably be the biggest party I'll ever have in my life. So
yeah. Because my dad has given me some very sage advice, which I feel like you would probably agree with.
Yeah.
Which is that day is yours, and it's very much just like a, hey, sweetie, does this look nice? You're like, oh, that looks great.
Oh, for sure.
And you say nothing else other than that.
I think I would know, but I still want like
Input.
whomever it is to be an active participant.
Yeah.
But like also, we have to remember how extra I am. Like, it's
See,
it's gonna be like in like it's not even like the guest amount. Like that's not it. Like it's not like, oh, I want like 30,000 people there, but it's just like all the cute little details and like the special like. It's not even the amount of people. Like, I don't want that many people there, but it's all the rest of the stuff that I think is important to me.
Yeah. Because, yes, I definitely see you going above and beyond. And, of course, obviously, like, men, the input is... There's a TikTok that, if I can find it, I want to, like, send it to you, which is, like, a girlfriend asked her boyfriend, like, hey, which top do you think is cuter? And it's, like, red or green. He goes, oh, I like the green one. She's like, all right. And she comes out wearing the red one.
Yeah.
And you're just like... Okay, why would you ask me? Because on that level, we've definitely had those conversations. We're like, which one do you like, or like, which of these dresses do you like? I'm like, oh, I think that one's pretty cute. And you're like, no, I like this one. And I'm like, okay, then I like that one because I know that there's no point in me disagreeing with it. Which also, Thomas told me, do you already have your dress for mine?
Probably.
What do you mean?
I bought a lot
probably?
of dresses recently. Low-key, I tried on like 5 today anyways.
Okay, because he told me that you already had yours, and I just today called the bridal place to get a fitting for mine.
I have lots of options in different colors.
So you don't officially have it yet?
But like, no, I haven't like narrowed it down. Like, this is the one.
Okay, well, he told me...
That was so gross that I did that, but...
What? This is
yeah.
Whatever. Because he told me that you had it, and I was like, huh? And then now we're talking about it.
I have lots of options.
Okay, well, thank goodness you haven't bought it already, though.
Yeah. I was also waiting for a little bit more direction.
Well, you have a little bit more freedom because you're not, like, in the wedding.
Yeah.
I'm in it. So I have to, like, there's a lot of planning that goes on behind that. Which, the one part about, like, being a guy in the wedding that gave me complete headache because I was on the phone with my mom earlier today about it, and I called, like, 2 different places about, like, fittings and stuff. And I was like this the whole time because it was so boring to me. Because the funny part was I called like the official place that we're getting it from, and I said, hey, my sister and her fiance I think put in an order for the suit. Can you guys like check if you have it? He goes, oh yeah, give me a second. And he puts me on hold. I didn't tell him anything. So he put me on hold to check on who knows what. Maybe he had something in the
Maybe he
oven.
was just like transferring you or something.
No, he did. It was the same dude picked back up.
Love that.
So he was like, "Hey, what's the name?" And I'm like, "Well, I feel like you should have asked for that before you put me on hold." But so yeah, that was kind of cool for me to do that. I had quite the day. I almost died. I called about fitting consultation.
I liked my sister's wedding though, and like being an active participant in it.
When did they get married?
First year of college, so I want to say 2020. Yeah.
Did she graduate college?
Mm-mm.
Where'd she go?
UNCG, and then my brother-in-law graduated from Central
Central.
North Carolina Central University.
Oh, I've never heard of
NCCU?
it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Durham.
But yeah, in terms of like wedding atmosphere, I mean, from the pictures that I had seen from you guys, it looked like you had a blast.
Oh yeah.
so.
Did you see my dump posts?
Yes, I did
Yeah.
see your dump post. That one where it was like, I think Michaela was in the front. You guys were
With
like
the towels?
Yeah, there were napkins or something.
Yeah. They're they got Tyler's a big Steelers fan, so they got like towels that look like the Steelers towels.
Oh, the
and it
terrible
said, like,
towel.
Yeah, the Irvin wedding on them, and so they were really cute.
Oh, that's cool. Because
a cute little
that
moment.
picture was like mad cinematic, and I was like, dang.
It was a cinematic moment. It was really cool.
Was it?
Yeah.
Because like I was looking, and everybody that I know that like, I mean, I've never met Liv before, but
I
like,
was gonna say, did you see Liv in it too?
well, I saw it was like you, Bailey, Liv, Michaela. Am I missing it? Is that
Ashley,
Ash? Well, I don't
pink
know.
dress.
Yeah, sure. I don't really remember what Ashley looks like. But yeah, I was looking for like each of you in it, and then like it had the shot of, because then it was like you guys were all clear, and then the back was like blurry and everything, and I was like, how did they do this? So
We were at the front table, which was Loki was good for that moment.
but yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. So, okay, last subject, because I didn't mention earlier, but this is gonna be a shorter episode because obviously our setup is a little bit more jank than it is normally. So, and Allie hates Cameron. So
I do, but I have honestly not looked at it that much, and I kind of forgot it was there. So
hey,
That's a vibe.
and right on cue, I reminded you of it, and now you're thinking about it.
awkward.
Because we've talked about this to a couple of our other guests, and we might have talked about it on yours, but now that since we recorded your episode and months have passed now, you've graduated college and now you're going into your graduate program and everything like that, it's just like one thing after another. You don't slow down, which I find ironic because you always joke about me for working so much when you probably work like twice the amount that I do. So like what, in your mind, and please be deep on this because I need to shut up and I need you to talk more. What is like success to you? Because it feels like somebody else, I can't remember who it was. I don't know if it was Zeta or Jade or somebody. We talked about like it never feels like, not that you're not accomplishing anything, but it's like, okay, on to the next.
Yeah.
So talk about that, please.
I think success for me is like long term. Like when I think of success, I have like short term goals and long term goals. Like short term, like I want to save enough to buy a house. I want to graduate with my master's degree. I want to have a successful job where I make enough income to be able to pay all my bills and be able to travel and explore and also still save and invest. But like success in the long term is just having a happy and fulfilled life. And for me, I know that there are steps for me to get there. And like for my life to be fulfilled, like I want to have a family. I want to be able to financially support them. I want to be able to have a career that I'm passionate and proud of. I want to be able to experience life and travel and hang out with my friends and live in the moment, but also still be like responsible and things like that. And I think I had a good example of that because my parents are very determined and each in their own ways, and they're very successful in what they choose to be, and I envy that, but also I want to be more than that.
Okay.
So success is, I won't be successful until it's the end of my life, but that's not something that I'm like, oh, like I've never been successful. It's something I'm like proud to keep pushing towards and like proud to keep working at it, because at the end of my life I want to be like, oh, that was a success. But like I'm not like deterring, like I did graduate, like that's exciting.
Yeah.
And like I am going to my master's program early and young. That's exciting. Like there's still accomplishments, but at the end of the day I haven't hit the point of success yet.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not something that I'm like sad or it's not something that's like unachievable. It's just that I have to push myself and I have to go harder. But I do also want my friends to slow down because I know what being burned out looks like. And sometimes I look at you and I'm like, yeah, you're really close to burning out.
Well, because you can function, hard quotation marks, off of your like 2 or 3 hours of sleep that you get.
And a Red Bull.
For watching a baby. Yeah. But like, do you ever, like, if you don't, because you always go like above and beyond, but like, do you ever step back and be like, you feel defeated because like you might not have gotten accomplished as much in a
100%.
day? Okay.
100%. And like, my mom knows this, but I'll call her and I'll be like, I wasn't enough in this scenario. I didn't do enough in this scenario. And she'd be like, okay, well, take a step, look back, look at your peers, look at that. And then also just think like, there's something bigger than this. So there are moments where I'm like defeated and I don't think I did enough and I don't think I accomplished enough. And then I remember like, there's always tomorrow. This isn't the end of the world. I have bigger and greater things ahead of me. I just have to grit, bear down, and push through it. But that's always easier said than done.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're one of a couple people, some that we've had on the podcast, where, and some people that I've met, that's all that they do, is they have very little time for like being social and everything. They're hard pressed on their studies and just trying to like build themselves up, and there's not a whole lot of wiggle room for like going out and having fun and living a lavish lifestyle such as yourself. But I think you do a pretty good job of like balancing the two, because like we could be out super late and then you wake up at 8 o'clock the next morning.
Yeah. I also think that like I need that balance. I can't be as driven in my professional and like school life if I don't have that social life to balance it. I need both.
Yeah.
And since I need both, I make sure that I do both. But I'm also not going to be spending too much time in my socials and not balancing everything else that I need to. I think I just have a unique way of being able to accomplish both, which sometimes I struggle at it, but I get pretty good.
Because it's funny to me, I take this past semester, for instance, where I was struggling, is the word that I will use, in statistics. And you were there in those library sessions where a lot of studying was going on. And I would do like because only in this aspect, mom and dad, don't freak out, but like I hate math. So I would do the least amount of work possible to secure just like the passing grade, which is not how I used to be. Like when I was younger, high school and like middle school, I would try super hard. And then just like if I ended up getting a bad grade anyway, then I could have tried more, but I just kind of like lived with it. College, I'm like, screw this. I hate math. I just want to get this over with and never talk about it again in my life. But it was funny, like me doing what I could to like do the minimum amount, and you weren't okay with that. I was contempt, but you were like, no, we're going to keep studying because I know that you need to. And the funniest part about it was that worked. Like the times where you would tell me to do that, I would do better, like on my tests.
Because like you are okay with like accepting defeat and I can't. It's not something I'm good at. I also just like know that you can do more. And like I know that you're like, I could, but I don't want to. Okay, well, nobody wants to.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I guess I don't want to say that's a good thing because I don't want to, like, again, make an excuse for it. But I know I can be doing more and I have the ability to do it. I just choose not to. And then, but, like, when somebody is yourself, like, pushes me to do it and it actually works and I'm like, meh, I'll be fine. That drives people like you crazy, which I think is hilarious.
No, it does. Because I'm like, did you do this? You're like, no, I'll study the day before. And I'm like, can we at least get, like, the weekend to do it? Or
yeah.
can we
I think the first session that we had going to the library, I said, yeah, my test is in like 3 days or something. And you're like, all right, well, like, how caught up are you? And I'm like, I don't know. I haven't really been paying attention. And you're like, all right, well, I'll see you tomorrow in Atkins. And I was like, okay. And we didn't leave until you felt like it was a good stopping point, not me. Because, yeah, I was like, all right, well, I started going on my phone, and you like slap the phone out of my hand and make me do.
Because everybody needs that person sometimes.
Yes.
I feel like you would do the same if it was like a different subject.
For you, or just like?
Yeah.
in general. So if you were struggling, you think that I would do the same thing for you.
Yeah. Maybe not in like a school aspect, but in a different way. Like there's not just the aspect where you can like support your friend through school. There's like other stuff too.
Well, you're also like pretty good at math. Or
Yeah.
like decent, good. Which word do you want to use here?
Pretty good.
Good? Okay. Arrogant. You're pretty good
Slight
at it.
flex.
So like if you know a lot about it, then obviously that makes it easier to like help me with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I'm kind of like so on something, I'm gonna just be like, you know what, give up. Let's go get food. We don't have to worry about it that much.
Cookout run?
Hey. Yeah, I always think that's funny because you do have a pretty good balance of being able to like maximize your fun, but also maximize your output of like work.
My roommate said that they saw me in mommy mode this week, and I said, don't
Oh.
worry. I'm about to be irresponsible right after this.
Have you been?
So I have balance. Today, I wasn't irresponsible, but I definitely was like back to my routine where I like focus on myself, and I definitely did go to the ABC store today. So
Well, okay, looking back on it now, even though again I probably know the answer to this question, would you do that again, like soonish?
100%.
Really?
Yeah.
That's just so interesting to me. I would be like, no, you get like another
I mean,
year
like,
maybe.
Today was kind of weird. Like I like missed that little kid.
So you missed sleep deprivation. So what you're saying?
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. You missed the child, but
yeah. I mean, do I want to sleep? Yes, but I do miss that kid.
I
She
miss her
lights up the
too
room.
in a weird way because she was adorable. She was boring to me, and then I met her in person. I
She's
was like,
adorable.
She's not that bad. Her sister is also adorable. So
Yeah.
cute family. So good job, Alexis. Paula, excuse me. Before we end, because that's all of the. I won't say all of. We could keep talking, but like as far as a scripted conversation goes with Allie,
This one went a lot better than the last one.
that's what I have. But before we go, there's an ongoing joke, sort of, in a way, that I have with Allie, where I try to, because we talked about this on your first episode, where you hate like sentimentality and stuff like that. We have an ongoing joke where I just try to be like super emotional and sentimental with her, and she absolutely
Hates
despises
it.
it. So to finish off the episode, I thought that I would mess with you again and show you something, and I need you to read aloud what this says. Can you do that for me?
Sure.
And not like hide away. If you start
Sure.
crying, we're not going to cut it either. You won't, but
I'm not going to cry. There's a
so
camera.
these were the notes that I had for Allie's episode.
You want me to read it out loud?
Please.
Questions for Allie's episode. Just kidding. Be yourself. Gross.
And there it is. So, anyway, thank you guys for watching or listening to this episode. Hopefully, I want to like garner more people on YouTube, especially now that like in the beginning we did like a collage of what Austin looked like and everything. Because I think Thomas and you have even told me like more people just listen to it and I don't care about like the YouTube aspect of it.
Yeah.
I love the YouTube aspect of it. So if you guys get the chance to definitely watch the YouTube video, if not for the Austin pictures, but also just we look different now in this episode, so I think it's pretty cool.
It's okay. If you guys are a devoted Spotify listener like myself, that's also fine.
Yes, obviously we appreciate you guys listening wherever you can. But yeah, you're screwed. Thomas is probably going to do another episode with you. Awkward. I apologize, but
I rolled my eyes. You guys can't see it because I have a hat on, but I rolled my eyes.
my hat, by the way, that is mine.
That I look great in. Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you guys for sticking around and listening, and we will see you next Wednesday. Peace.
Bye.